Okay, so I want to make one thing very clear before I start the review. I like this movie, alright? Dare I say I like this movie a little more than Iron Man 3? Okay, now, but to clarify, this movie is not without problems. There are problems, plain and simple, in this movie, very clearly seen. I recognize and acknowledge those problems, but still, besides those problems, for some reason I'm able to look past them and still love this movie. I know it's not one of Marvel's best concerning the MCU, but what I like about it is that it doesn't try to be. It has humor in it, right? But it doesn't try to be over humorous. It doesn't try to put too much comedy into it. It understands that you need to have a certain amount of drama, a certain amount of weight, and this movie, I will admit, is a little boring and droll, but I just still like it because I personally find it entertaining because of the drama and it goes a little darker than the other two Thor movies. Now, the complaints that most people have with it, like most of the complaints that I hear from people on YouTube or in person, is that this movie has a forgettable villain, the romance still drags, and that it is darker and more serious. Now, with that third one, as I said, that's why I like this movie. And also, this movie, compared to the first Thor movie, moved at a faster pace than the first one. I said I didn't like the first one because it was very slow and dragged so much, and this movie drags to an extent, but only with one major aspect, and that's the romance. The romance, I will agree, is still bad. I still think Thor and Sif should be the couple in these Thor movies. I don't know why they're not. I know it's a thing from the comic books and the cartoons that Sif wants to get with him, but he's just got his eyes so focused on this human girl. Why? Why? But nevertheless, Thor and Natalie Portman's character, Jane Foster. Thor and Jane Foster are still in a relationship that is still boring and still drags, and the acting. These two are great actors. This is how much the romance drags. I don't know if it's the writing, it's definitely not the actors, but Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman are two really good actors. They are fantastic, right? I've mentioned the movies that I like them in previous reviews. But in this, they are just not good. It could be the writing, it could be them slacking off because of the writing, or because Thor and Jane Foster just don't go that well together. Whatever it is, I don't like them, they're boring, and it drags like shit. Okay? And the other complaint, the first one, is yes, the villain is forgettable. The villain he's not menacing, he doesn't feel like a threat at all, he is just a one-off villain that will never return and we'll never hear about ever again. He is just completely forgettable. Also, this is a mistake that the first movie made. Kind of, not really a mistake. It's really complicated because in the first one, Thor was banished to Earth. Therefore, we had to spend some time on Earth, right? So there is a reason to go on Earth. In this one, there is absolutely no freaking reason to go back to boring old Earth. Thor is a galactic, a cosmic superhero. He doesn't just go to Earth, right? Really, I'm lost because I'm a little confused because I like this movie, but then again, I get where people are coming from concerning the complaints. This movie goes back to Earth because of the convergence. The convergence is where a bunch of portals open up in the skies of all the other 9 realms, which link up the 9 realms, basically, and all that scientific blah, bagook, whatever. But, okay, so the convergence is leading them to Earth, but because that's where it all links up. But is that necessary? Like, do we need to go back to Earth? Couldn't you write it to take place on in another realm? I don't know. every time these Thor movies go back to Earth, well, the first two Thor movies go to Earth, the story grinds to a halt. It really does, because I'm only interested in what happens off Earth, okay? Because this isn't Captain America, this isn't Iron Man, right? This is Thor, okay? He is not just on Earth, he is in Asgard, he is in space. Chris and Tom, Thor and Loki are once again great. They were good in Thor, they were good in the Avengers, they are great in this. This time they go on more of a buddy cop adventure. Like they kind of team up. I like the banter between them. They were just fun to watch sometimes. They were just great. They actually felt like brothers this time. So favorite moments, the Asgard attack. The attack on Asgard. That's really the only moment that I liked. And not because it was a fantastic scene, but because it was really the only good action scene that we got in the movie. All the others were fine, but I don't know, I just like the attack on Asgard more. Kind of like the attack on Tony's house. Kind of like that. Anyway, so this movie is okay. I like it because it takes itself seriously. It takes itself seriously, unlike other Thor movies, but I still acknowledge, and actually, after doing this review, can't, like, I'm going to watch this movie again in the future sometime, and after doing this review, I won't be able to get these problems out of my head now, because they're just so prevalent. I don't know if that's the right word, but they're just so obvious now. Anyway, this movie is a mixed bag for me. I don't... I like it, but then I know that it has problems, and those problems I hate. I don't know. Honestly, I'm confused on this one. I'll see in my review for Captain America: The Winter Soldier. That one I am definitely not confused on. I'll see you in that one.